I welcome you all to our today's session of Notable Talks by AnyTechTrial.com. Women are the largest untapped reservoir of talent in the world, said Hillary Clinton. Our today's guest is very special. She's vertical head delivery, life sciences at Birlasoft, managing ITES services for pharma, biotech, and medical devices worldwide. She's a techno-functional industry leader with 30 years of experience in multiple business leadership functions. Strategy, innovation, operations, she knows it all. She's a prolific writer, a Reiki master healer, and an avid blogger. Let's welcome Dr. Sharda Rao, Vertical Head, Birlasoft Life Sciences. Ma'am, a very hearty welcome to you on Notable Talks by AnyTechTrial.com. It's my pleasure to have a conversation with you today, and I'm looking forward to a superb session.
Good morning, and thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm pretty, excited about having this conversation. Thank you.
So, should I start with my first question?
Sure, absolutely.
So, with companies adapting to the newer technological advancements across the globe, how is Birlasoft modernizing the life sciences vertical organizations? We would like to know the actuals behind the scenes of how Birlasoft Life Sciences is enabling companies for a safe return to workplace.
Mm-hmm. See, as an organization, we are pretty committed to not only our employee, having the employee at the nucleus of our solutions. We are committed to their safety and security, their livelihoods and their families. So solutions are devised with that motive and mission in mind. All our premises are COVID-19 compliant, and we have actually launched a solution which is a digital integrated solution called IntelliOpen, and this integrates multiple aspects, right? Safety first, security as a service, wearable technology, IoT and AI, and it not only plots the employees' vitals from a daily standpoint. There is bidirectional traceability with systems that measure time, the time systems, and other intelligent systems that are used across for automation of our business processes. So we have launched it, and we have extended a helping hand to many global clients who want to keep their premises safe with IntelliOpen. So it's a very reusable kind of a framework, and return to work strategies have been planned, keeping the whole vaccination mandates in place, right? And in accordance with the ever-changing situation, as you see, with the way this pandemic is taking shape. So we also have created COVID task forces, COVID help desks. There have been vaccination drives that have happened on campus. Our own associates have volunteered across the nation in various CSR initiatives, both during the pandemic and post maintenance activities. And definitely, I think hybrid working models have come here to stay with this year, right? So back to work being a core theme, we also offer them the flexibility and the safety or convenience of working in a trusted environment. So partially they are based out of campus, and partially they could even flex if they so prefer. So we were one of the first companies in the nation and in certain parts of the globe to, turn 99% compliant of our workforce. So that is where we stand with respect to our focus on safety first.
Indeed, that was really an important insight.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of buzz about zero trust policy in context to cybersecurity and data protection. As a vertical head at Birlasoft Life Sciences, and with over 2 decades of experience across different segments of healthcare and life sciences industry, how do you see these policies to strengthen the core objectives?
I think See, zero trust policies or solutions, right? The models, these are on all encompassing, and not just limited to life sciences and healthcare. Like if I went and shared information online due to exigency because I want to virtualize my experience, and be that anything, right? It need not be just life sciences, for whatever purpose, for banking or for learning something, or for sharing information. If I wanted to do that, I would go in with the assumption that whatever I'm sharing is safe and secure, and kind of ring fenced with that kind of confidentiality and privacy that I expect. So more so with life sciences and healthcare, right? There is a whole lot of personally identifiable information that you share. Take a simple instance of a telemedicine interaction. What do? You just go to something, an app like a health app, right? Which you would go and have a physician conversation, and you share a lot about yourself, demographic information, ethnicity, your physical condition, and diagnosis, right? And so that is personally identifiable, and you may not want to share that across. So I would want to completely have a zero proofed solution, I would say. So I would have zero tolerance for any sort of leakage or fraudulence, or any vulnerability or threat that could impact my information, right? So that is the whole PII aspect. Personally identifiable information is a regulatory compliance ask from the entire industry, and we have to cater to the identification of the information. We have to cater to security, cyber security, and we have to cater to all sorts of security at the application level, infrastructure level, at the API level, the data itself, right? Many layers and protocols that we have to devise. So as a policy, I think least access strategy is the best, right? You just give it on need basis. Access is given only on need basis. Communication is very cautious and monitored. So beyond the assigned individuals, perhaps not safe to kind of really launch a free access. Um, and the way you script, the way you design a solution, scripting languages, the way you code it, develop, and secure the entire build is it has to be airtight. It has to be very stringent, and implementation policies are devised keeping all of this in mind as at Birlasoft.
Now that you are speaking about this, I'm realizing that how much information we are giving out on a daily basis to.
Oh yes, and this ties to very unsafe practices that you have. Simple things like the photographs you put online, pictures of your family, locations that you share in WhatsApp, to fundamental interactions like just making an air ticket or reserving a cab. Sharing so much information, right? So I think one needs to be cognizant about the level of um, I would say openness with which we treat some secure operations.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
So, ma'am, mental health, a term which we all have been coming across a lot in recent months. What are your views on this, and how is this aligned with Birlasoft Life Sciences offerings and services? And we would certainly like to have some tips from you for achieving a healthier mental lifestyle.
I think, see, the pandemic year brought in a lot of social isolation. Until that point of time, everyone was, they took it for granted that they would have people around them, they would have access to people. That whole, touch and feel aspect of the world around them was kind of a given, right? And it was when social isolation became a mandate and a requisite to survival that you saw a whole host of mental issues that began to crop up, right? The 0 year saw a lot of suicides, depression spiked tremendously, anxiety disorders, productivity at the workplace suffered, whole host of mental spectrum dis-ease, right? That happened both with the employee workforce, with their families, and how you kind of looked at the entire work-life balance as an aspect, right? So, in a recent survey in 2021, it was found that women fared better actually compared to men in terms of mental health and in terms of physical activity as well, because physical activity definitely has come down with this whole hybrid working model, right? But men seem to have taken the brunt a little more. So I would say, I mean, personally, in Birlasoft, I'll talk at both the corporate level and personally. In Birlasoft, there are a whole host of daily cadences that are put in place in terms of interaction that you can avail of, where you kind of talk, to psychologists, or you to talk to buddies or mentors at work. You share experience, you share cognitive behavioral solutions that will keep you safe physically, mentally, and emotionally, right? All of these put together. So there is a whole host of platform that one can avail of in our corporate. I think we are very, very fortunate in that. Then there are other underpinnings like health insurance, gym, flexible working solutions and tools that are also in place. So personally, if you asked me, I mean, you do know I'm a Reiki healer, so that always talks about physical, mental, and psychological health, and how you're always taking care of your head and your heart, right? They need to be in alignment. Often they aren't, and it always makes sense to kind of spend time to listen to yourself, to understand signals that your mind is giving you or your body is giving you. Never veer to the extremes. It's always important to have that balance, and that calmness, or the practice of stillness, right? And combined with your own alignment with the universe and all that it can offer to you, right? Is what Reiki is all about, and that has taught me a lot, right? It has made me a wholesome individual. I don't veer to a whole lot of extremes anywhere, and it has stood me in good stead for 7 years. And I often try to go out of my way to see if I can give it back, right? It's all energy. The more you give back, the more you get from the universe, and that's the way to hold a whole lot of people around you up.
Yes, now that you are talking about this, I'm realizing that we don't cater to all three of them: mind, body, and soul. We are only
Absolutely.
considering about one of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't even take it to the third level. There are 3 degrees of Reiki, definitely. But the soul is something where if you're really, it's first, it's your mind, which is all the sensory inputs and the cognition that you have, and the information that you're kind of consuming all day. And what is your mind doing with it? It can be monkey mind or it can be a balanced mind, right? That you should pay attention to. And your heart, of course, you ignore it all the time. You never pay attention to it, right? It will be telling you all the time what is good for you, but do you pay attention? I don't think so. So these two, if you take care, then the soul is happy. The soul is always with you, right?
Yes, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So here, shifting gears for a moment,
Mhm.
let's discuss the most promising innovations and technology enhancements you have witnessed in recent times. What's your perspective on how future of healthcare would look like in India?
Hmm. I think, see, I have been in digital for quite a few years. I would say close to a decade now. and I worked at Microsoft for their digital solutions for many years as well. So it first started with the whole SMAC, right? The social mobile kind of solutions, and then the big data and analytics and cloud solutions. So people started to look at it from an aspect of how do I digitize an enterprise? How do I create solutions in various industries to have a connected world? Um, and From that, if you see today, right, the whole it's not an optional aspect anymore. The entire world has become connected. Industry 4 has kind of just held that vision with various solutions, right? Be that Internet of Things or Internet of medical things, wearables, whole host of solutions that have come to play. So in life sciences, I think some of the core things which are favorite themes with us at Birlasoft, without going into a whole lot of detail, I think from a mission standpoint, right, we work towards the well-being of the world at large. Blindness research and blindness solutions using artificial intelligence and ML is a big focus area, right? Then we work towards solutions that incorporate modernization of the hospital workplaces using Internet of Medical Things, which means how do you put the patient at the center of the experience, and then kind of gestate solutions around the patient, keeping the patient in mind, right? That can be telemedicine, that can be virtual diagnostics, that can be IOMT and cloud conversations back and forth, that can be remote surgery, your physician monitoring you using solutions like Kinexus and so on, right? Many mechanisms in which AI and ML come to play for us. What is the potential of something like this? Vast, rapid strides that you can make in medicine, right? Earlier, we didn't have that kind of collaboration that came to play in the world. Today, it isn't that. Today, people are looking at how fast can I address certain conditions, right? Lung cancer or, blindness, like I said. Earlier, we never thought we could reverse blindness, right? It's like a moonshot goal earlier, but now it's addressable. So how can we look at things like that? What is the vista or the extent of a journey that I can have towards medicine is a huge thing. Another trend which is focus area is 5G, right? There's a whole lot of potential in 5G to kind of enable faster, easier, and affordable and accessible healthcare. And so that is something that we are looking to kind of bring solutions forth, right? I think that's a little bit of in a nutshell, what we are looking at, right?
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing this knowledge with us.
Mhm.
So, how have if we talk about you, your role, for example, okay, I'll take this question. So, how have your role evolved till date as a vertical head at Birlasoft? Since your first inception with healthcare industry was back in 1999 at Merck. So, how has your role evolved?
Okay. Well, I think at Birlasoft, it is the unit leadership and accountability for delivery and execution of whatever we ideate and envisage together with the customer, right? So I am accountable for delivery and all of that solutioning that gets implemented at the customer. So it's a role of import and responsibility, and at the same time it is a whole lot of fun as well, right? It's a personal passion for me ever since my first foray into life sciences with Merck, right? That was when I learned about George Merck and the whole be well kind of mission statement that Merck lives by. So the year I joined Merck, there were 9 blockbuster drugs that were launched in that single year. It was a golden period, like literally towards osteoporosis or towards asthma, towards cancer, right? Many blockbuster drugs. pain medicine. So then I started to find this of great interest, and I saw the power of IT solutions that can really enable rapid strides in how people feel better, how you can address a world sans disease, right? So I started to focus on understanding the whole drug discovery process, and what can come to play in clinical trials, how one can accelerate various solutions across the life cycle value chain of drug discovery, the R&D aspect, the manufacturing, post marketing, sales, and surveillance. And what does pharmacovigilance mean? What do adverse reactions create in humans in different parts of the world based on their ethnicity and blood types and things like that? So it's a very fascinating area, right? So today I have the power to kind of sit for an hour and ideate a solution that will go and create impact to a population. So for me, that is extremely powerful. If I sit and put my head for a while, that I can sit with certain industry leaders or advisors or various luminaries that are working on medicine itself, right? We can go and say, this is what we can make happen for you, and together that is a huge impact that you can give. And for me, altruism is a big thing. Giving well is a personal goal that I have. So using this platform, that is what I create every day in and day out. It's useful for me, and I hope it is useful for many in the future.
Indeed, it has been an incredible journey so far.
It has been. Actually, I at one point wanted to write about the way solutions are perceived in the West and the way solutions are perceived in India. It's somewhat like the Friedman book, the Tom Friedman book, World is Flat, kind of a graph of how outsourcing began, what delivery looked like about 3 decades ago, what does it look like today, right? And what are the different ways in which one can kind of tie that together. But never had the bandwidth to write that big book. But yeah, it is definitely undergone a vast change, the entire industry. But at its core, I think every leader today believes that they can bring about change, be that regardless, it's industry agnostic, be that banking, be that consumer or healthcare, any of the industries. I think if you are in a role of import, that leader cares about the solutions they are making.
Lovely. So, ma'am, we have talked a lot about your professional life here. Now, I would like to know if there's a personal goal that you want to achieve.
Mm-hmm. I'm very glad you asked me this question, and I hope this resonates with a whole host of people. I do have a personal goal. It's like a earnest mission at this point of time. I have been blessed and fortunate to have created a life for myself where I have everything I need, right? There's something called I have enough, or you are enough, right? Something like that. I've reached that stage, but I still have like a good, I think, a decade of creating impact in the world with the work that I do. And the personal goal I have is earn to give. Earn-to-give. So earn to give is all about effective altruism, which means what you earn and how much you can give back through the same, right? So I started small. It's not that thankfully I can give well with the current employment that I have. But I think I give towards 2 or 3 things. Earlier in the past 5 years, I've been helping 2 villages, and they have just been towards sustenance, right? Towards provisions, and and this is for a weaver community that kind of leans on a group that I work with, and I kind of was leaning only towards checkbook charity. How much of per month can I give? And that's how we sustained and modernized villages. But recently, what happened is I happened to visit one of the villages after many years of this checkbook charity. And that is when I saw there's a very small, it's a one street village, like they show to you in the movies, right? And India is formed of a majority of such villages, right? Literally, there's a church at the beginning of the street and a temple at the end of the street, and there's just a couple of houses in between. And there's one small building called school. And I went to visit the school actually, and I had such a impactful personal experience because there were literally the walls were peeling off with paint, and this is of course a government primary slash secondary slash high school, and it didn't have anything. It had the certain classes, the children were sitting on the floor. They don't have fundamental things like shoes to come to school with, and they walk 4 or 5 miles to reach that school. And they come to school, they are literally struggling to have a full empty notebook to write, a full long pencil to write with, or a pen that is new or has enough ink. So very small things that I noticed, and it shook me to the core. And they come for the midday meal. So hunger is a very big thing in our country, and that's when I started to scour various avenues in terms of what will solve hunger. And I look for causes that feed people who come for healthcare into cities. It's a very big affordable healthcare is an important word for Indians. A lot of rural population come to the city for treatment of disease that is unmanageable at a rural level, cancer or AIDS or whatever, right? And they come, they are so poor that they can neither afford that healthcare for the person nor afford to sustain themselves in a city. So there are groups which feed them, right? And I contribute heavily to this cause. How do I help resolve hunger in whatever measure I can? So I have set dates in the month. Payday is one. Then I'll have some special days like Ekadashi, where I will definitely see that today is hunger day for me. So I'll just go and then give. And then I have, at the end of the year, I have said I'm going to definitely give about 35% of what I make towards various causes. And that's a very earnest and measured scorecard I have. And I urge everyone who is in an industry that pays them well to think of people, the have-nots, to think of people in winter who probably don't have shelter, don't have food to keep them warm, who are facing all the natural calamities, cyclones and floods and all of this, right? While you're browsing on your devices, pay attention. Give well is a big motto, and it's important to give well. I think it's a huge global responsibility.
Yes, I think all the people who are privileged should give back to the society as well.
Yes, absolutely. You should. You have to give back education. You have to give back food. If you give back these two, the country will progress.
Thank you so much. That's very inspiring. And again, I have to give a lot more thought, because we always feel that we are doing our bit, but there's always a lot more we can do.
Lots we can do.
Now I'm going to have a rapid fire round with you.
Is there a hamper? That's the question.
Yes. All our best wishes are the hamper that we are going to.
Okay.
So I'll start.
Okay.
Your favorite time of the day?
My favorite time of the day is the morning.
Most loved song?
Most loved song? I mean, typically I listen to a lot of music. I have trained in classical music as well. So I don't know, I listen to a lot of music, so I don't have a favorite song as such. In classical music I have there is a song called Sriman Narayana. It's a kirtana, so I like that a lot. I hum it a lot also, but please don't ask me to sing. I'm not going to sing.
Okay.
Okay.
One thing you wish you knew earlier in life?
I don't know. I think often the most important role I have played is being a mother. For me, my entire life is centered around both my children. I'm very blessed, my daughter and my son. And I think the things I wish I had known earlier was how to be a mom. I was very young when I had my children. So literally, they don't come with user manuals. So, that's one thing I wish I knew a little more of ahead of time is something I would say. But I don't regret. The entire journey has been beautiful, continues to be blessed.
Yes, I had read a quote that said that you don't come with a manual, but you come with a mother.
Yes. Mother is the manual.
Yeah. So, first word that comes to your mind about skills.
Skills, I think they are natural and they are built. Both.
Food.
So, food.
Food.
Food is South Indian.
Humanity.
Humanity, oneness. We all are one.
Yourself.
Myself, simple.
Your favorite productivity tool.
Laptop.
Which OTT platform you enjoy the most?
Netflix.
An app on your phone that you cannot live without.
Telegram.
Okay. So I think I have asked you a lot of questions, but yes, I would like to ask one more.
Sure.
Your favorite quote.
Favorite quote. Okay. It's a beautiful life. Make it worthwhile.
Awesome. Thank you for all these beautiful answers.
Okay. So I get the hamper. You will.
Yes.
I will send you my address. Please send me a beautiful hamper.
Yes, sure.
Add one vacation to it so that I'll take that hamper and go on vacation.
Yes, and then I'll come to you for Reiki.
Wonderful. Anytime. I'm always ready to give Reiki. Anytime.
So thank you so much. It was great talking to you today. An absolute pleasure hosting you at Notable Talks by anytechtrial.com. All the best with your journey ahead. Also, I would like to thank all the viewers for watching this session of Notable Talks by anytechtrial.com. Stay tuned for more interesting conversations with industry leaders across the globe in coming episodes. This is your host Sugandh Sharma at anytechtrial.com signing off. Bye-bye.